Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Julianne and this is my project to read every single one of the physical books on my TBR file. It is a mammoth journey, I can tell you. We might be here for a few more years. So buckle in for the ride. It is now month 26, that is August 2025. I really have been at this for a while. I have very exciting news for those of you who have been posting in my comments, asking me how many books I have to read, asking me to count them. Up until this point, I have always said that I didn't want to count them because I thought it would be procrastination, that it would take me away from actually reading the books, because I had so many books. They were in awkward places, some of them were at my parents' house, some of them were here at my house, and I did not think that it was really practical for me to be counting them all. But as I have been whittling down the number that's left over time, not that much, as you'll see, I started to feel more and more like I wanted to do it. Because knowledge is power, right? And I thought that knowing the number would help with my motivation. You know, I'm already feeling quite motivated and fired up about this project since my last rule change. I just find that the pace at which I'm reading books on my TBR at the moment, when I'm reading 2 books for my TBR for every one not from my TBR, is just really good. You know, like I'm just reading so much more than I was before and getting through it, and it feels really, really motivating. But I thought, you know what would be even more motivating? Having that number in my mind. It also might help me stop acquiring so many more new books, because I can just have in my head the number, right? But still, I thought I would do that maybe next year, maybe like some point in year 4 of the project. You never know. Once, you know, I felt like my room, my office room, was more organised. But then I think it was the month before last, I was at my parents' house and I went up to find a book that was on my shelves there that I wanted to read. And I was looking for it. I think it was mentioned on the Books Unbound podcast. I think it was 172 Hours on the Moon, actually. I was watching that podcast on YouTube. I only started watching it last year. And then recently I decided to go back and listen to the beginning from before, like it was a YouTube podcast and it was just an audio podcast, and they talk about this book so much, and I knew I had a copy. So I was like, I'm going to go and find it. And when I was there, I thought, you know what, there's not actually that many bookshelves here. I'm going to count them and see how many I have. So I did. And so then a few weeks later, because I knew that number, I then wanted to know how many books that I had here. So, and it just started to really get to me that I didn't know. I knew how many were at my parents' house and I knew how many were here. And I started to get quite excited about it, actually, because I knew from counting how many I had at my parents' house that I didn't have as many as I was worried I had. You know, like I was expecting way more at my parents' house than were actually there. And even with the ones that I counted, I know that there's a good like 30, 40 that I probably won't read because they're like kind of job finding books that I got when I was in my teens / early 20s, or they're like out of date, like writing guidance type books, like writing for magazines from the 90s and things like that, which are just sort of very, very out of date now, and so I can probably just get rid of them. But I just counted them because I didn't have time to go through them properly and take a look at the contents. But yeah, overall, I felt like I had far fewer books there than I was worried I was going to have. And so I looked at my bookshelves and I was like, well, my biggest fear was probably that I had over 1,000 books here, right? And I looked at them and I thought, I don't think I can have 1,000 books. So whatever the number is, it's not going to be as bad as that, right? I'm pretty sure it's not. So that made me feel more encouraged to count them. And then I thought, oh, okay, maybe I can rearrange the room in such a way that it's easier to get to my bookshelves. So I can A, count them, and B, find books that I want to read more easily. I can browse my shelves more easily and get excited about what I want to read. So one day I just decided I was going to do it. And I moved the room around and went through all the shelves and counted them up. I have a Billy bookcase and a Kallax. And the Kallax, the squares don't actually hold that many books. So it became pretty clear that, as I had suspected, I was not going to have 1,000 unread books. Like that That was pretty clear from the start. And then I did count the Billy book shelves, and actually there's only like one shelf that is like double stacked and double parked, that's the term we used to use on the website Read It Swap It, rest in peace. So like double parked is like where you have 2 rows, and the multi-story is when you put books on top of the rows. So I knew the bottom shelf was going to have a lot, and that is multi-story and double parked, and that has over 80 books on it. But the shelf above, it's only actually the front row of books that are unread, and then there's like a few books shelved on top which are unread as well. And that's like, that was only like 20, 30 something. I can't remember off the top of my head. I do have this all in a spreadsheet, but it's not up right now for me to look at. It's a huge spreadsheet, so looking at my phone would be a nightmare. And so yeah, that was the worst bit. The Kallaxes only had like some of them didn't have any unread books on them, and some of them had like 12. So yeah, even though it's one of the bigger Kallaxes, it couldn't be that bad. So I counted, and now I have the number. Right, are you ready? I already said it's less than 1,000, but it's still quite a lot. Everybody I've mentioned this to has been like, oh, let me guess, like 150. And I've been like, no, it's way more than 150. Some people have gone for double that. They've guessed 300. Still way off. I feel like my mum was probably the most pessimistic. She guessed like the biggest number just for the books at her house, let alone taking mine into consideration. But yeah, I am pleased actually to say that the number is 792, and that includes the books I'm currently reading. I decided for the simplicity of my new like tracking spreadsheet, I would count currently reading as unread until I have actually read them, because basically the way I'm going to do the spreadsheet is not try and like make it live. I'm just going to like stack up the books, and then at the end of the month update the spreadsheet from the stack. So I have like a column for books read, and I have a column for books acquired, and I have a column for DNFs, so that I can, you know, make sure it adds and subtracts in all the right places. But the only way I can possibly keep track of what those books are is by not adjusting it till the end of the month, like not adding in the data for that month until the end. Like I could make it live if I actually like put book titles and things in there, but I'm not going to do that. I feel like that is just overkill, considering I also have like Goodreads and Binks's series tracker spreadsheet, which is really good. I recommend that. So yeah, 792. As I say, I'm so relieved it's not 1,000, because I genuinely thought it could be 1,000. I just felt like I had so many books. Now I know it's 792, that actually doesn't feel so bad. Even though I know it will still take me probably another few years to finish the TBR Zero project, I feel like knowledge is power. Because now when I'm considering buying or picking up a free book, I can just say to myself, 792, or whatever the number is by then. And each month I can aim to try and get like a chunk out of that, and I'll find it really motivating. Like I feel like I'm going to quite often now want to have read or DNF'd 10 books, because that would just be a nice thing to come off of the total. And I'm also really excited to go through, as I say, all those books that were at my parents' house that I probably don't want to keep or read. And yeah, that's going to be really fun as well, because that's going to take a big chunk off when I go through those. So yeah, I have counted, and I actually feel really good about it. You know, like that feels like a number I can do. You may be watching this thinking, oh my God, what is she doing? Why did she just get rid of the lot? That's so many books. But honestly, to me, it doesn't feel like that much. I have read 200 books in a year before. This year so far, I have read over 70. And it feels like all I just need to do is keep on going and probably stick with the rules I've currently got in place, because that 2-to-1 ratio is working out really nicely. It's keeping me motivated. Lately, I have been reading books which have been on my TBR for over 10 years, and I'm so pleased I finally read them. I have really enjoyed most of them. It's been brilliant fun. And so, yeah, I'm committed to this project. We're going to keep going. So now on to this month and my reading plans. I have a little TBR of summer books that I picked out that I really want to get finished. and on it was Royals by Emma Forrest, which I am partway through. I am on page 124. This is a proof copy that I got secondhand. I can't remember who gave this to me or where I found it. It is dated October 2019, so not as old as some of the books on my TBR, but still getting there, still a bit old. I am really enjoying it so far. It's set in 1981, and it's about two teenagers in London. One is 18 and one is 19. He is Stephen, he's Jewish, he wants to be a fashion designer, and he ends up in hospital after getting assaulted by his abusive father, where he meets Jasmine, who is 19, very posh, neglected by her dad, who seems to be more interested in partying than spending time with his daughter. And yeah, the story is just sort of like getting going with them and their friendship. And all of the issues that they're having to deal with. And I'm really enjoying it so far. I will not run through everything that's on my currently reading because it's basically the same as last month. All the non-fiction, that is. All the non-fiction that was on my currently reading last month is still on my currently reading. Still Happy City. Still slow fashion. It's there. I'm still you know, they're still there. I haven't actually picked either one up for a while, so I'm kind of thinking maybe I should take them off currently reading and put them back on my TBR. They're both books that I want to finish. I just haven't been in the mood for them lately. But who knows? I may change my mind. So I'm going to leave them there for now. And yeah, I'm hoping to read those summer books, and then once I've done that, crack on with some sort of more autumnal reads. So back to school is kind of my vibe. I think August, start of September, where I kind of want to read books that's like YA books set at school. I have a lot of those because YA contemporary has basically been my favourite genre, my default genre, the book kind of category that I collect the most of since I was a teenager. It's been a long time now, but I still love those books. And so, yeah, I have a big stack of those to get through. But I separated out the ones that are set during the summer holidays from the ones that are set during term time. And so I'm hoping to get through some of the term time ones. Absolutely no chance of me reading all of them because there are so many, but I figured I will pick a few and see how I get on. And then I'm also, I think, just like throughout this month, going to pick out some like autumnal reads. So I've already got a couple of things in mind, but if I can make some space, like start a new stack, I'm going to put on some things which are like have really like autumnal vibes or like spooky vibes as well, like some kind of like Halloween-y kind of vibe books. That would be really fun. I love being able to read those. I also really, really, really need to read Book of Night by Holly Black because the sequel is being published as a fancy Illumicrate edition, and I have not read it. And although I probably will love it and want it, like all Holly Black books that I've ever read, I feel like I should read it first because I just want to be sure. You never know, I might not want it. Seems unlikely, I've got to be honest. And I'm hoping that reading it won't just then send me straight into like spooky book season, because I really need to read some of these summer books. But yeah, the pre-sale is in just a couple of days, so I've got to go on and read it. So yeah, there we go. That's where I'm at the moment. I am really hoping, fingers crossed, that I can actually vlog this month. I did start vlogging last month, but then I accidentally deleted all my videos on my SD card and had to like recover them, which took days. And otherwise I just kept forgetting. Like I would get home from work, be like, yeah, I'm gonna vlog after dinner, and then before I knew it, I'd like taken my makeup off and put on my pajamas, and I was like, well, I can't do it now. But yeah, anyway. Fingers crossed I can actually vlog this month. It is only the 2nd of August today, so I'm hoping that I am setting myself up for success by starting early, unlike in July where I tried filming a vlog for the first time like halfway through the month. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I've just got to get back on the horse and get into the habit again. And with that, I will finish this now, and you'll see me in a couple of seconds for my next update. Hello! It is now the 11th of August and I am giving you a little evening update. It was actually quite a sunny day today at first, and then it went super dark super quickly, so all my plans to film straight after work whilst I could still get some daylight went completely out the window. So here we are with the light bulb. But I have good updates. I have read 3 TBR books since my last update. I read Royals by Emma Forrest, which I mentioned before. This was such a bittersweet book. I think that's the only way I can describe it. It is lovely and the ending is extremely sad. Wow, my god. I also read The Beautiful Bureaucrat by Helen Phillips. This is a book which I would describe as having sort of like slight Severance vibes. So it's about a woman who gets a job that she doesn't really understand. She's doing some kind of bureaucracy. She processes these forms, looks up the records that they belong to on this database and puts in that day's date and then saves them. But she doesn't know what these forms are about, what's going on, anything like that. Meanwhile, her husband starts kind of disappearing for long periods of time. And yeah, it's just her trying to figure out what's going on and their life together and things like that. Yeah, it's hard to describe, but I did enjoy it. And the third book I finished is Tap to Tidy at Pickle College by Stacey. Solomon. This is kind of like DIY book, but sort of like I guess it's a DIY book for people who are timid about DIY and want some encouragement. The thing I liked about this was very much that she's very much like, give it a go, try this thing, here's what I did. The downside of this is that there's no pictures, so I'm not going to keep this because I like having pictures and videos, and I thought about it and all the stuff that's kind of covered in this book, all the advice here, I'll probably find online with videos and pictures or in a different DIY book with pictures. So yeah, I don't think this one is a keeper, but it was fun. I hesitate to say I read it cover to cover because I did skip over tutorials. I did mostly read sort of like the kind of like room design decision sections of the book and skip over the exact like how-tos. But, you know, it is pretty long. I did read like a substantial part of this. I've definitely spent less time reading shorter books. So yeah, I wasn't sure whether to count it as a book read off my TBR, but then I remembered I counted it when I counted my TBR. So yeah, I feel like I have to count it now. Before I finished Tap to Tidy, I did read a reward book. I have not actually earned a reward book. I'm still now 4 books behind on TBR books. I need to read another 6 before I've earned another reward book. Whether I will in the near future, or even this month, remains to be seen, but I'm going to try. But anyway, despite not having earned it, I had to read it because I had borrowed it from the library. So there wasn't a lot I could do, and that was Witch Hat Atelier Volume 13, which I enjoyed immensely. I love this series so much. I did have to reread the one before it in order to read it. That's why it was so complicated with the library, because I had to request them both and have them both out at the same time so I could read one and then immediately read the other. It was a little tight on that, and that's why I had to read that. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I think that as this series goes on, I'm going to find it harder and harder to follow each book as a sort of standalone one. So I'm probably going to have to reread one to read the next one. But I don't mind, because it's a graphic novel at the end of the day, or kind of a collected edition of manga. So yeah, I don't mind. I enjoy it a lot and it doesn't take up very much time. So there we are. That's where I'm at now. I have actually started Book of Night by Holly Black. I am on page 40 something. I've left it in the other room. I'll probably wave it at you next time. I did not finish reading it before I needed to buy the sequel, but I did that anyway. I had read enough, and I felt, at the end of the day, it's a Holly Black book, and it's a duology. I'm going to want to know what happens next, and I'm going to want it to match, you know. If I don't like this one that much, I'll still probably read the second one, and then I can sell them as a set, so I may as well have both. That was my logic. Anyway, I'm going to get ready for bed now. Hopefully I will read lots more in the rest of this week, and I will be able to update you. Why the second I sit down to film does the lighting mess up? It was all just like beautifully like overcast, and then the sun came out. So now I got the half shadow thing going on, but I'm not going to move now. I've spent too long. I need to go to the gym today. So it is now August the 27th, and things have changed drastically since my last update. I have done everything completely opposite to how I said I was going to do it in the very first clip of this video. So I said I was going to read Book of Night by Holly Black. I started it and then stalled. I have not picked it up again since. Nothing wrong with it. It's just, it's not the summer vibe, and I just want to cling on to the summer vibe. So I think I'm just going to have to accept I'm not going to get back to this till September. Although now I've said that, I'll probably just read some more of it tomorrow or something. In that first clip, I said I was considering taking these two off of my currently reading pile and putting them back on my TBR. Yeah, that's Emma Bunton, what of it? Because I had not made any progress with them for weeks. What have I been doing? Reading them. Like, little bits, but reading them. I have been doing. Slow fashion, I'm now like, let's say a third of the way through. Happy City, I'd been stalled on the first chapter for absolutely ages. Like, I'd read the first chapter and I'd not got around to starting the second. I'm now, like, in the middle of chapter 5. So, yeah, I've been reading it. I've been really enjoying it. It's a brilliant book. Highly recommend if you like the idea of learning a bit more about urban planning and what makes people happy in a city. Books I have finished. I finished City of Stories Home, which is published by Spread the Word, which is London's writer development organisation. Essentially, they're a charity that puts on events, workshops, all kinds of opportunities for writers. I used to volunteer for them, actually. And this is a book that they published following a short story writing competition around the theme of home. And they're all kind of flash fiction length. So it did take me a while to read this because it's not really like something you get like absorbed into. So in the end, what I did was I took it to work. I kept it in my locker at work. And then when I was on lunch break, I picked this up and read a few stories. And yeah, eventually I got all the way through it and I'm done. That's another book off the TBR. And I also finished The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Lavender. It's a long title, so excuse my having to read it off the front cover there. This is a book that was published as YA, but I think it's actually quite literary. It's a book about a girl who was born with wings and her family history and all the tragic things that have happened to them. I was hoping for it to be a summer book because in the blurb it references the summer solstice, but actually it's not. It's like this one event. There is some kind of recurring references to the summer solstice event in their town, like throughout the book, but it wasn't really a summer read. So yeah, another one where I picked it up thinking, oh, this could be a summer book, and it's not. But what is One Day, which I am currently coming up for halfway. This is a book about two people. It starts when they've just finished university and it's following them throughout their lives on the same day each year. So it is kind of short story-like because each day kind of stands alone and doesn't connect like 100% to what comes before. You sort of have to kind of update your mental idea of where the characters are and everything in their lives, but I'm really, really enjoying it. It's like reading a story that's totally made up of flashbacks, and it's fantastic. I'm enjoying it so much. This one is pure summer vibes because it takes place on the 15th of July every year, so it's always summer in this book. I am also a bit more than a third, but not quite halfway, working my way through The Cousins, which I am really enjoying as well. It's about a group of cousins who are summoned to work summer jobs on an island at the sort of resort owned by their grandmother, who has been estranged from their parents for years and years and years, and they don't know why. And so they're trying to solve this mystery together. I am really, really enjoying it so far. Why do I have two books on the go? It's because I was carrying this one around outside the house for a while, and this was the one I was reading inside the house, but now they're both indoors books. So yeah, that's what it is. I am hoping to finish them both this weekend. So that is my update. There are, you may have noticed, only a few days left of the month. It's the 27th, so the last date of the month is this Sunday. It's now a Thursday. And yeah, I don't know how much else I'm going to get finished. I have acquired 7 books already, and that is partly my own fault for going to charity shops. But I did only get 1 in a charity shop, so not that bad. It's just that there are 3 books in the world, and also my Bureaucrat, and it ranks up quite quickly, I'm realising. You know, like last month I broke even. This month I'm just so hoping to read 1 more book. 1 more book than I acquired. I really hope I don't just break even again, otherwise this is TBR Zero project. It's not going anywhere fast. I just can't resist a free book, and I don't want to put myself on like a book ban. I am trying to think like, oh, that's a really like common book, I can get that from the library. But if it's something a bit more unusual, I just think like, oh my god, if I don't pick this up now, then it's going to be either that I have to buy it or that I have to put a hold on it from the library, and then there's all the transportation, carbon footprint of the book goes up, and I could just pick it up now and save that hassle, save that carbon from being released into the world. So yeah, it's really, really difficult. Oh my god. No wonder this project is taking me so long. I mean, there have been months in the past where I've acquired only the 1 book, and that's the Bureaucrat. There have been ones where I've acquired like 2 or 3. There was 1 month where I acquired a lot of books because I just kept coming across brilliant books I had to have, and obscure books as well, nothing that you could find at the library. It was really great, but I would just... So yeah, anyway, I need to read, I think, 3 more books. I need to finish 3 more books. So yeah, I'm hoping I can finish these 2 this weekend, and maybe this one, because there's actually quite a lot of pictures and not that much words in this book. So it feels doable. It feels like I can do it if I just put the time in. If I just put the time in, make the effort, and then I might break even. Will I be breaking even? I think that will be breaking even. Or possibly 1 more than breaking even. I've entirely lost count of where I'm at now with read books. Yes, hang on, let me think. I've done Royals, I did Beautiful Bureaucrat, I did Tap to Tidy. Those are the 3. And then I did City of Stories and Strange and Beautiful Stories of Lavender. So actually, if I finish these 2, I'll break even. If I finish this one as well, I will be in profit. So yeah, I'm going to try and do that. Wish me luck. Hello, it is now the 1st of September, and I am pleased and proud to tell you that I did in fact finish 3 books over the weekend. I ended up taking them all with me to my parents' house for the weekend because I was so close to the end on all of them, so close. And I was right to do that because I did in fact finish them. So the first one I finished was One Day. I thought this was a brilliant book. It's not one that I think I'll read over and over because I think it's sort of like our kind of one-time full impact book, but I thought it was genius. I really loved the way that it followed this couple through the ups and downs of their lives, when they were together, when they were apart, when they were friends, when they were not friends, not really talking. And it was just such a brilliant way to tell a story as well, going over the same day every year for 20 years. Fantastic. Bittersweet ending, which did make me sad, but hey, I followed it up by finishing The Cousins, which is a very different mood. It's very, we're young people, we're just starting out in the world, and we're trying to deal with the fact that our family is a mess. It gets more and more gripping as the story goes along, and I really recommend this if you like reading YA mysteries. I wouldn't put it in the kind of thrillers category. I don't think it's really like fast-paced and actiony enough for that. But if you like books that are very plot-driven but also have some nice character moments and a really strong setup and family backstory, then I think you will enjoy this. And then finally, I did finish Slow Fashion. I feel like I was too advanced for this book, basically. I think it's good, but it works really as like a primer for people who don't know anything about slow fashion. It's essentially a series of interviews of people who are involved in the slow fashion world, whether they be as models, influencers, people running businesses related to slow fashion, either designing and making clothes or selling them in a retail environment. I think you enjoy this if you're interested in the fashion industry and you don't know anything about slow fashion, but for me, someone who knows a fair bit already, it was kind of beyond where I'm at. Also, it was a kind of bittersweet read because it talks a lot about the company Pickle, which no longer exists in the UK. The UK arm shut down. It's still going concern in Europe and Japan, but you can't buy clothes from there anymore in the UK, which is a shame because I got some really nice pyjama bottoms from them. And I would definitely have bought more because they are by far the highest quality pyjama bottoms I've owned. Like, they have pockets and they're long enough on me and everything, and the cotton is super soft and lovely. Anyway, RIP Pickle, I'd recommend this if you want a primer on the world of slow fashion. Okay, so onto the tally. I've had to move the camera slightly because the sun is bursting through the window all of a sudden, despite the fact that it's been raining all day. Why is it waited to clear up till now? I don't know. Anyway, I am pleased to say that I read 8 books from my TBR this month. Excellent. I also DNF'd one, so that's a total of 9 books off my TBR. However, I also acquired 7 books, which is taking up most of that gain, right? So it's not the best possible, but then it's not the worst. So yeah, I feel like this month was in total good. I mean, having read 8 TBR books is a lot, so I'm not going to be like it was so-so, but the fact that I acquired 7, I don't really know what to do about that, because I don't want to not pick up books when I see books that I really want to read and that are not so easy to get hold of. You know, I have been resisting books that I know I can get hold of easily at the library. I also don't want to say no when a friend offers me a book, because it's really nice being able to swap books with friends and things like that. So yeah, it's a difficult one. Let me know in the comments what you think I could do to counteract this. Is there a rule that I could change? Maybe I have to read 3 TBR books for every one reward one. Maybe not on the next rule change. Maybe I'll leave that until I'm doing a rule change in 2026, because I really want to earn myself some Christmas books to read over Christmas, and I'm only going to do that with the current rules. I don't think I'm going to have much in the way of Christmas books to read if I have to read 3 TBR books every single one. So yeah, but let me know your thoughts. Also give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and you will see me again soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.